There has been a dramatic increase in suicide in young women ages 10 and up and in children of color between the ages of 10 and 17. That is scary. There are already programs in our schools to prevent those deaths, but suicide prevention advocates say more needs to be done.
As I say to everyone, that's the face of suicide. Suicide does not look like what you think it does. It looks like any of us and all of us at any given moment of the day.
That is the face of Leslie Wyrick's only son, Austin. And you may recognize him. He was a star athlete at Goshen High School who felt called to be a leader. On September 10th, 2016, Austin died by suicide.
He was 20 years old. He was an incredible kid. He was academic all-state.
Now she is called to use her son's story to help others.
I always say suicide's like cancer. There's multiple things that cause it. There's multiple factors, and I always want to talk about protective factors because everybody can talk about risk factors, but I want to talk about what we're doing here through the Oaklawn Foundation to build resiliency in the schools.
Wyrick and others in Elkhart and St. Joseph County are working to connect with schools and provide evidence-based help to children and teens who are at risk.
It's complex, it's nuanced, it's really coming from a number of places.
Deslyn Roberts is a child and adolescent therapist at Oaklawn. She says there are increased rates of depression, anxiety, and youth struggling with trauma.
We need more boots on the ground. We need more programs in schools. We need more school-based therapists.
That's one of the things Wyrick is pushing for. She believes every school should have a social worker dedicated to mental health. And she's working right now to set up a national program in local schools called Sources of Strength, which teaches kids wellness.
We call it the upstream approach to suicide prevention. Now, what we say is we don't want to wait till the kids are ready to jump off the bridge. We have to reach them. We have to go upstream. By that, I mean early. We start this as early as the first grade. So we teach them wellness because we say when you teach wellness, you prevent suicide, you prevent bullying. You prevent school violence.
Oaklawn has funding for this program, and some area schools have already signed on. Wyrick has also been working with far-reaching suicide prevention programs. And she says this summer, the country will officially have a 3-digit suicide hotline number. But she says if we're trying to reach children and teens, then the community needs to meet them where they are.
Text the word home to 741-741 because we know teens text, they don't dial. So what we have to understand is we're dealing with young, immature brains in a moment of crisis or isolation is when they make that decision to take their life. So we need to get that pause button in there.
And perhaps most important, Wyrick says parents, families, and trusted adults need to start having important conversations with children early.
Kids as young as 4 and 5 are having suicidal ideation thoughts. Now, their brain doesn't work like a 14 or 15-year-old, but they do understand what it means to harm themselves. So it's never, ever too early to start talking to your kid about how are you feeling today? How are you feeling about going to school? Tell me about your friends today. What happened in school? Keep that conversation flowing.
It's something Wyrick can't do anymore with her own son. And she's on a mission to spare other parents and families from the same grief. Experts say some of the top risk factors for suicide are trauma, poverty, and ADHD. Data shows an alarming increase in the rate of young kids ages 10 to 12 who are attempting suicide. This means everyone, the community, needs to do a better job of reaching out and connecting. I'm going to put links on this story on our website with ways you can do that. In the studio, Kristen Bean, WSBT 22 News.